It was evening now, and Taeyang heard the sound of the front door opening downstairs. He immediately got up and headed down, hoping to see her. When he reached our living room, Hyuna, Soo, and Bushik were there, unpacking bags and taking off their coats after their dinner out. Taeyang looking around confused. Where is Hyundai? She is not with you. Hyuna exchanged a glance with Bushik, her smile faltering slightly. She hesitated for a moment before answering. Well, when we were driving back, we asked Hyuna where she wanted to go, here or to Wine. She said she wanted to be with her because, carefully choosing her words, she said she saw Wine crying earlier. Bushik nodded in agreement, looking at Taeyang sympathetically. She was a sweet young. She even asked us what if doesn't come home either. She was upset because we hadn't been all here today. Hyuna took a deep breath before continuing. Before one left with me for the doctor, she told you to feed until lunch, right? But you left before you could. Yondu was really disappointed. She said she was angry with you. Realized the impact it had on his daughter, he closed his eyes for a moment, guilt washing over him. Rubbing his sample, I didn't know I should have been there. Hyuna stepped forward, her voice gentle but firm. Taeyang was good, but you need to be more present for Yonde. She noticed everything. Taeyang nodded silently, her voice sinking in deeper than anything had. At a night dragged on, Taeyang finally made a decision. He grabbed Fan's phone from the nightstand, holding it tightly in his hand for a moment. He needed to make things right, starting to with Fan and Yonde. Couldn't wait until tomorrow. He had to see them, to apologize, to be there for them. Taeyang grabbed his car key, throwing on jacket. He quickly left the house. Taeyang stood outside Jimin's house, staring at the front door for a moment, gathering his thought. The memory of Fan word weighed on him. Her need time to trust him again. Inside, Van sat on the couch, Jimin's phone pressed against her ear as she spoke quietly with Ranjan. She was trying to focus on her friend's word, but her mind kept wandering. Ranjan's voice sounded amused through the speaker. Girl, you won't believe what happened, so they lost it completely after Taeyang left, screaming like a mad woman, demanding to see him again. Doctor actually called Taeyang and Taeyang seriously told him she is probably mentally ill. One couldn't help the small, satisfied smile that tugged at her lip. It felt good to know Taeyang had finally made a firm decision, but she quickly hid her smile when she heard a soft knock at the door. Peeking over the entrance, she saw Taeyang standing there, his eyes filled with longing. She forced herself to look back at Jimin's phone, trying to maintain her thought demeanor. Chuckle at her word and underline, you shouldn't, he needs to feel this one. Before one could respond, Taeyang stepped inside cautiously, his eyes were searching for her. His gaze softening when he saw her, but her expression remained cold. She held up her hand, stopping him mid-sentence. You came here after I told you I need time to think to deal with. I had to see Jen and I don't want to go to her van, but I couldn't ignore the situation because of him. That's what you always say it's now about her, it's always some other reason, but you know how much it hurts me every time. Taeyang sighed deeply, stepping closer. He kneeled, his head hanging low as if he is defeated. I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt you, and I will swear I will do anything to gain your trust. One glance at him, fighting the urge to soften completely. One, you can't just expect me to forgive you because you said sorry. Words aren't enough, you need to prove it. He lifted his head, his eyes filled with desperation and sincerity. Before he could kneel over, she stopped him with her hand on his shoulder. Don't kneel, Taeyang. I'm not going to forgive you just because you are begging. I told you I need time. This isn't something you can fix overnight. She stepped back and Taeyang's heart sank, but then Van reached out and gently touched his face. I want to trust you again. Taeyang nodded, his throat tight with emotion. He grabbed her hand gently. In the room, Jimin was sitting on the floor, playing with Yonde, completely oblivious to the tension between the two adults. Your daddy is in trouble. I will bet he's trying to make it to your mom right now. Yonde giggled happily, playing with the toys scattering around her. I looked over. She said coolly. Taeyang watched her as moved away from him to join Jimin. He stood there for a moment, gathering his thoughts before walking over to them. Tension between him and Van was thick, and every step he took toward felt heavy. Van sat next down to Yonde, playing with her daughter's hair, keeping her eyes on it, avoiding Taeyang. She was still angry that he had. Taeyang lowered himself to the floor, sitting across from them. He glanced at Jimin, who was looking between them with raised eyebrows, sensing the tension. Alright, I'm going to head to the kitchen and get some drinks. You two walk it, okay? Van, please just talk to me. She kept her eyes on Yeontae, her jaw tight. I have nothing to say, Taeyang. Taeyang sighed heavily, running a hand through his hair in frustration. He hated seeing her like this, cold, distant, hurting because of him. I know I messed up. I should have told you everything sooner, but I didn't want to upset you. And I know I have made it worse. Finally, I looked at him. Her eyes sharp. You think you lied to me, Taeyang? Her voice was low but filled with anger. Taeyang felt a pang of guilt in his chest. He didn't know how to make this right. I do care about your feeling more than anything, but I was stuck in a situation with Jen, and there was always an excuse, isn't there? It always about someone else, never about me. Taeyang's face felt the weight of her word hitting him. She stood up suddenly, feeling overwhelmed, picked up Yeontae and her held closer to shield herself from the pain she was feeling. I told you, Taeyang, I need a time. I can't just forgive you like this. It's not that easy. Taeyang looked up at her, his heart speaking with a cold she had become toward him. He wanted to fix everything, but he knew it wouldn't happen overnight. Just then, as she reached for the handle, Jamie returned to the room. He glanced between them, sensing that things hadn't gone well. Hey, Vine, are you okay? Vine smiled, not wearing to worry him. I'm fine, Jin just needs some air. Jimin glanced at Taeyang, his expression filled with concern, but he hadn't said anything. He simply nodded and let Vine walk out of the room. Jimin walked over to him, patting his back. She will be come around Taeyang, just give her some time. In the outside, Van sat on the couch with Hyuntae, the cool evening breeze calming her down bed. She felt one part wanted to forgive Taeyang and move on, but another part was still hurt and angry. She sat there, phone buzzed on her hand. The call from, I don't know, Ryunjin, he's trying, but it's hard. I'm still so mad at him. Ryunjin chuckled softly, her voice filled with understanding. Well, I will tell you something that might make you feel better. The doctor confirmed she's mentally stable now. Van couldn't help but smile even though she was upset. Really? Oh yeah, the doctors are considering putting her under observation. She's been screaming how about Taeyang should have chosen her instead of you. Well, I guess that's karma. While laughed softly, shaking her head. Exactly, so don't stress too much. Taeyang made his choice and it wasn't her. He is trying well, give him a chance. One glance back at the home again, her heart softening just a little. I don't know, I don't want to make it easy for him. He needs to know that he didn't wasn't okay. Okay, of course, make him work for it, but don't shut him out completely. I know Van smiled even though she didn't say anything. Back inside, Taeyang was pacing, his mind racing with thoughts of Van. He hated that he had hurt her so badly and he hated that he couldn't fix it. And apology, but he wasn't going to give up. He loved her too much to let her go. Jimin watched him, his expression thoughtful. You know she loves you, right? Well, good luck, man. You are going to need it. Taeyang managed a smile. Yeah, I know, but when under the kitchen, her mind was full of thoughts and emotions. She didn't have to saying or Jimin. Instead, she made her way to the sink, filling a glass of water. Yante followed closely behind her, watching her every move, and heart felt heavy with the weight of. As she started the water pouring into the glass, memories of everything that had happened with him began to flood her mind again. How he had gone to see her, how he had broken her trust. She felt her emotion bubbling up uncontrollably. Yondi, who had been sitting near, he noticed her mother's silent tears. The girl started seeing her mother cry and she didn't understand why. She stood up quickly, her small hands clutching the fabric of her dress without thinking. Taeyang was sitting on the couch, his mind was still consumed by Van's cold behavior towards him. He knew she was justified in her anger but it still hurt him deeply. He sighed, feeling the weight of his mistaken pressure down on him even more heavily. Just then he felt a small tug on his shirt. Taeyang's heart sank. He looked down at his daughter, seeing the worry and sadness in her big eyes. He reached out and gently stroked her head, his throat tightening with guilt. He couldn't bear the thoughts of Van crying because of him. Taeyang stood up, slowly taking Yeontae's hand in his. Stay with Jimin for a bit, okay? I will go check on her. Yeontae nodded. Even though she still looked worried, Taeyang placed his on top of her head before gently nudging her towards Jimin. Taeyang returned to the kitchen quietly and there was Van standing at the sink with her bag still holding the glass of water. Her shoulder was shaking slightly. He could see the telltale sign of her crying even from behind. Taeyang slowly approached her. He could feel the happiness in the air and the weight of the emotion between them. He had heard her. He gently took the glass from Van's trembling hands and placed it on the counter. He stepped closer, his hand gently brushing against her arm as he softly whispered, Van, I know I hurt you. I have made mistakes that I can't beg, but please just forget me. Van hesitated for a moment before turning to face him. His voice softened even more, his eyes filled with sincerity. I hate seeing you crying like this. Every tear you shed because of me breaks my heart. You and Hyuntae, you are my whole world. I will do anything to make this right. His voice trembled slightly as he continued. I was told to let things go this far. I don't deserve your forgiveness so easily, but please know I will spend every single day of my life proving you that I will never hurt you like this again. One heart began to soften despite the anger she had been holding on to. There was something about the way things spoke, his tone full of regret but also love. Started to melt the walls she had built around her heart. He wasn't just saying empty words, she was seeing in his eyes, he felt in his touch. He pulled her a little closer, gently resting his forehead against her. Miss Yuan, I don't want to lose you. Please tell me that I need to do earn your trust again. One side feeling her resolve weaken. Her heart ached from the pain, but it also was for missing him. She had been so angry, so upset, but now standing there in his arms, she realized just how much she loved him. Deep down, she wanted to forgive him. She just needed to hear him say it, to feel his sincerity. She looked into his eyes, searching for the spark of honesty she had fallen in love with all those years ago. Young, I don't want to keep fighting like this. He nodded quickly, his eyes never leaving her. I understand when I should have listened to you from the beginning. I should have known better than to let Susie get between us even for a moment. From now on, you come first always. My lips squealed, and before she could stop herself, she leaned in softly against us. It wasn't just a Young gave her back gently, his arm wrapping around her tightly, not willing to let her go. More than anything, he whispered against her lip. Wine smiled softly, her heart finally giving in. But don't you think you are off the hook just yet? She teased lightly, the young girl softly pressing her forehead. I wouldn't dare to think that, he said with a playful smile. His hand gently stroked her back. But thank you for giving me another chance. I won't let you down. Just as they shared another tender moment, the door swung open and Jimin popped his head inside. Yellow words, he called out with a grin, though he quickly looked dramatically, covering your eyes. Okay, let's not traumatize this kid here, she formed that letter. Wan and Thang both loved pulling apart as Jimin walked in. She is still covering her eyes. Wan turned to her daughter, smiling through the remaining tears. It's okay. Fine, now Yonde smiled brightly and rushed over to Wan, wrapping her small arms around her legs. Good, I don't like when you cries. Thang leaned down and scooped into his arm, placing a tender kiss on her cheek. Doesn't like it either, he said softly as they stood there. The tension finally easing the air around him felt lighter.